President Bola Tinubu yesterday congratulated Senator Akpabio and Honorable Abbas on their election as Senate President and Speaker of the House of Representatives, respectively, saying the emergence is a good development for the country. Tinubu, in a congratulatory message he personally signed, said it was time to get on with delivery of promised service to the people. He declared his readiness to transparently work with the legislature and vowed to remain a partner for peace and sustainability of the country. The newly elected president of the Senate, Akpabio, is promising to run an all-inclusive Senate that will surpass the expectations of Nigerians, and that was part of his acceptance speech moments after he was sworn in. With this victory, Akpabio is now the 9th Senate president since 1999. Our Rise correspondent Abbas reports.
Nigeria has a new Senate president, and he is the former governor of Akwa State, Akpabio. Akpabio won the privilege to become the next Senate president after a keenly contested election between him and the former governor of Zamfara State, Abdulaziz Yari. It was the moment of truth, the moment many have been waiting for in the Senate, as senators-elect filed out to make their choice of who takes the mantle of leadership. It's the first major task, and it came moments after the clerk to the National Assembly had announced a presidential proclamation that breathed life into the new Senate amidst calls for nominations. As expected, the battle for the Senate presidency turned out a two-horse race between two senators, Akpabio from Akwa State and Yari from Zamfara State. A momentary rancor in the chamber had earlier ensued after Senator Abbas from Adamawa State nominated Senator Yari to take the chair as the next Senate president. The rancor centered around Yari's eligibility, whether or not he is ranking enough to take the Senate seat. But it didn't take time for the boiling anger to simmer down and for the clerk to order that the contest be put to voting, and in an open secret ballot manner. At the end of the voting and counting, Akpabio with 63 votes emerged the winner and thus declared the Senate president for the 10th Assembly, leaving his main challenger Abdulaziz Yari with 46 and the consolation of putting up a spirited fight.
I will dwell on Nigeria. I will make a very big difference. I assure you that my reputation precedes me. My track record is there for all to see.
We are so much so ready, more so to cooperate and work in line with our president. He has shown the first steps, rightful steps, that we must encourage him.
It's a good day for democracy. I think the battle was fought, won and lost. But I think the important thing is that immediately after that election, the person who did not win approached the winner and congratulated him, and we were all impressed.
The position of the Deputy Senate President did not present much conflict, as Senator Barau Jibrin from Kano North was returned unopposed. But it was the climax that many in APC had looked forward to in the build-up. With the leadership formed, the President of the Senate, Akpabio, then swore in the remaining 107 senators-elect in the presence of dignitaries and top members of the governing All Progressive Congress APC, who had come to witness the proclamation of the 10th Senate.
We will work with the executive. We understand that our relationship with that of cooperation and contestation, because in opting for the presidential system and in drafting the constitution, I think it is implied that whereas the president have the whole country to look after, he doesn't have monopoly of wisdom.
For me, I have the role of ensuring that I contribute in whatever way I can to support them, the presiding officers particularly, but also in a way give some kind of support, of mentorship to some of our new colleagues.
From the immediate past, Senate President Ahmed Lawal to Godswill Akpabio, the 10th Senate has now taken shape, but with plenty of expectations resting on his shoulders. Omo Bazwai, Arise News.
All right, let's talk about Ayo.
Well, we all watched it unfold here yesterday morning, and it was quite great to be able to see that being televised. So kudos, of course, to Rise News Channel. Congratulations to the new 9th Senate President in the 10th Assembly, Senator Godswill Akpabio, and his deputy, Senator Jibril Barau, and also, of course, the Speaker, elected Speaker of the House, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, and his Deputy Speaker. Again, like everyone has said, it's time to hit the ground running. However, let's examine a little the process to getting these, to getting the winners emerge. Yesterday, we had talked about the style of voting that was adopted, both in the upper chambers and the lower chambers. In the Senate, it was good to see an open secret ballot, thereby ensuring that despite the allegations of monies being exchanged, the senators at least had some sort of free will to be able to choose who they wanted. And this was consistent with what the president had said, at least in public, that they ought to choose in the best interest of the nation. Also, it was interesting to see that almost all the senators arrived early. In fact, Senator Kwame Bamidele was said they were there since about 4 a.m. because what happened in 2015 must not repeat itself, so that they were able to choose their leaders. However, a different scenario played out in the House of Representatives, where it was by voice voting. Thereby, we saw what happened yesterday. We all witnessed this yesterday, where the representatives-elect had to speak into the microphone and say who they were voting for. Of course, that left little or no chance to maybe change your mind or not align with the party's choice. So it then brings up the question as to when we have votes like this in the House, should across board be adopted open secret ballot so that there would be no chance of vote buying? Because if the allegations of monies or being exchanged or it was going to the highest bidder is true, then it would only be enforced by a voice vote. Because if you've collected something or you've been induced in one form or the other, then you must speak out in favor of the person that that had settled you in one way or the other. But those are all allegations. We want to believe that all the representatives elect voted according to their choices, and as some people mentioned yesterday, according to their constituents. Now, what's the implication of having a house whereby the president handpicks his officers? What the fear of many Nigerians, or a number of people, have said is a rubber stamp assembly, as we saw largely in the 9th Assembly. In some cases, there's an argument for it, which is it makes the work or the job of the president easier. It makes the job of the executive easier. There are no roadblocks here and there to frustrate his efforts. However, on the flip side, there's also the chances of the fact that they don't check the executive. It just goes, whatever decision is made just goes. And then one of the fundamental responsibilities of the House, which is to check the executive, is not, is inadequately done. In terms of hitting the ground running, one of the first things we want to see the House do is the president to submit the names of his ministers before the House so that he can get his team together and begin the actual business of nation building. I mean, so far he's done well in terms of what he's been able to do without his ministers, but we look forward to that being done in this House.
What happened yesterday at the National Assembly, the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly of Nigeria and the election of the presiding officers, the principal officers, is a triumph for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And Ali Ndume, senator representing Borno South, already made this clear by pointing out that, look, the president himself was the architect of the entire process. He said he sneaked out. He met personally with lawmakers. He sent his foot soldiers onto the field to make sure that he had his way. And there's no better illustration of this other than what happened in the House of Representatives. In the House of Representatives, the opposition parties combined have a total of 181 members. The APC has maybe, I think, 171. But at the end of the day, the chosen candidate for the speakership of the House, Tajuddin Abbas from Kano North, got a total of 353 votes, which meant that yesterday, even the opposition voted for Tajuddin Abbas, the anointed candidate of the All Progressives Congress. Is this an indication of what we're likely to see going forward? And I say it's a triumph of strategy, because in one major assignment for the Tinubu administration, he's been able to just bring the entire National Assembly under his wings. That's number one. Number two, if you look at the Senate, how the drama played out in the Senate, where Abdulaziz Yari, former governor of Zamfara State, still insisted on running. After all that drama between Mongono and Cabo, the senator-elect who nominated him. And then, of course, this clerk saying that Section 311 would not stop Abdulaziz Yari from contesting. But at the end of the day, Abdulaziz Yari was not disgraced. He got 46 votes to Akpabio's 63 votes. So maybe analysts can also look at that in terms of the implications. But what is important, as Senator Gbenga Daniel pointed out, is that at the end of the day, all the parties came together and they embraced the choice that had been made by the Senate. Now let's look at the inaugural speeches by our, if you like, acceptance speeches by the two major persons who have been elected. Akpabio and Tajuddin Abbas both said they will work for unity, the interests of Nigerians. Akpabio used his cliche that the 10th Assembly will be an uncommon National Assembly. Tajuddin Abbas says, it was a momentous victory for the 10th National Assembly. But both of them stressed the point that they will work in harmony with the President of Nigeria. They were very specific. Both of them specially thanked the President of Nigeria before going ahead to say, well, they will also be independent. Tajuddin Abbas used the phrase checks and balances. Akpabio used the phrase independence. But in reality, the average Nigerian looking at it would likely conclude that, look, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has already settled the matter. He has the National Assembly in his pocket. But what is important to us, however, will seem to be the promises made by, the new leaders of the National Assembly. They're saying they will look into issues of development, they will pass bill for good governance, they will look into issues of security, they will support entrepreneurship, they will support SMEs. Both leaders in both houses, saying more or less the same things. And that's okay, that's fine, because it's in line with Section 4 of the 1999 Constitution, which defines the powers of the Legislative Assembly, whose responsibility is to make laws for peace, order, and good governance of Nigeria. And we're hoping that under this 10th National Assembly, we're not just going to witness another era of laziness, or of lawmakers going to the National Assembly to go and sleep and doze. This is the only country where you hear people say they went into government to go and sleep and snore. The National Assembly is not a place for people who want to snore. Please, if you want to go there and snore, stay in your house. And maybe all of these contradictions that we face with the National Assembly will be an opportunity for us to further review the future of the Legislative Assembly, both at the federal level and at the state level. It's not a retirement post. It's a place where people are expected to be productive. We have been told, both by the Uncommon Man and Tajuddin Abbas, that the National Assembly will be productive. In fact, Tajuddin Abbas was saying that the House of Reps under his watch will be better than the night House of Representatives. Yes, Nigerians are watching. And they should reduce their toing and froing from the villa. They are not there to go and be paying homage to treat Bola Tinubu as a monarch. No, it's not a monarch. Even if there are contradictions in the Nigerian Constitution that tend to make the Nigerian president look like a monarch. Because immediately after the election yesterday, Godswill Akpabio went with his family and with members of the progressives, as they have labeled themselves, to go and pay homage to the president. They also left the place and went to go and pay homage to Governor Wike to thank him for helping them. Maybe Wike was one of the foot soldiers. And then the president issued a statement saying, now, let's work together. Where any president will want to work together with the Legislative Assembly, but Nigerians expect to have a National Assembly that is critical, that is intelligent, that is proactive, that is forward-looking, which is the phrase that Godswill Akpabio used in prefacing his commentary.
Truth has to be said, congratulations to President Bola Tinubu. This is a masterstroke for him. When he does well, I give him kudos. He has shown he's a master strategist as a politician. Like I said, I predicted yesterday Akpabio was going to nick it. Because if Akpabio had not won, it would have been an indictment on how he could rally his troops together in his party. And let's not forget, the president is the leader of his party. So this is another masterstroke for him. Congratulations to President Bola Tinubu. He showed the kind of politician he is. He could reach out. He could get things done and all of that. Good for them. Secondly, I have always argued that the National Assembly should be whittled down. A unicameral legislature, this bicameral, is too costly for Nigeria. We don't have the money for it. Unicameral legislature, and don't even pay them salaries. Pay them allowances for sitting. Those that truly know Nigeria will come and serve. Most of the political class only about what they can gain from Nigeria. That's why they are so excited about this retirement seat. It has now become for some governors. I think one day we'll have to do a survey and see how many governors or former governors are in the National Assembly. Thirdly, the truth has to be told. Kudos to Yari too. Yari fought a good fight. Akpabio did only win Yari by 17 votes. That was very commendable. For an outlier in the party, a man that went against the party. Yeah, some people say it's because of the money he spent and all of that, blah, 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 blah. But kudos to him. He fought a good fight. He stood his ground. Let's not forget that in this race, they tried stopping him from even campaigning. They tried stopping his nomination on that day by saying he's not a ranking senator. But they fought it out and they finally accepted him. Secondly, I personally was shocked at what happened at the House of Rep. I think you should have allowed people cast their votes in private. I think you pretty much muscled them. That's what was done when the rules were changed. That's why you hear people saying, my heart is with Wase, but I have to vote for Abbas because it was in public glare. And I kept on hearing the deputy clerk saying, you are being recorded. So that means that if you had not voted the way of Tajina, you will have been punished. You don't do like that. You don't muscle people. You give them a free will to vote. I felt if it was a secret ballot, at least Wase will have gotten some votes. A lot of people wanted to vote for him, but they were being muscled already. And they were being shown on TV that if you vote otherwise, you'll be punished. What do I know? Thirdly, the truth has to be said. When you look at political antecedents, it's a rubber stamp. It's going to be a rubber stamp pass for them. Except, and I put an exception, the Senate proves me wrong and the National Assembly proves. You know why? Because I don't see an Akpabio reneging against a Bola Tinubu that went out of his way to do the political work to deliver this for him. But the truth we forget in a hurry is that for Nigeria to move further, we must have checks and balances and disagreements. I keep quoting the Irish poet Brendan Connolly that says, if you want to serve your age, you must betray it. If the Senate truly wants to do what is right, it must learn to betray some things that the executive pushed to it. But we'll never have that because, hey, President Bola Tinubu stomped for you, Mr. Akpabio. So I don't think you have the temerity to say if he wants something from the Senate, you'll go against him. And that's why we don't have a Senate that truly fights for the people. That has always been the political dynamics of Nigeria. As regards greeting people that help them, yes, they will definitely greet people that help them. But also, as the National Assembly starts its own agenda, some of the bills I'd like them to look at is the care for elderly people. Elderly people's bill or act. Elderly people's bill. Where we can truly take care of people. If you've ever had an elderly person that has lived more than the age of 80, do you know that there's hardly insurance provision for them as regards health outcomes? And the fact that their children are burdened by paying for their health care and things like that. Dementia care and things, you hardly have a bill that tackles all the issues around the elderly. Or maybe if they have on ground, it can be upgraded to be able to fit the normal norms of society. So that's a bill that most lawmakers should look at. And we should truly care for ourselves. And also, while we're talking about the elderly bill, a bill that cares for the young people in this country and all-round development of the country. We wish them very well. We want them to do well. Kudos to the winners. Kudos to those that tried. All right. let's now get out there and build Nigeria. And please, hopefully the presidency will send its ministerial list quickly to them. And once they do that, please, this time around, I hope this president will also attach the portfolio so that the Senate can screen it properly.